The Barbarian path of the Zealot may be the most reckless of all of the paths a Barbarian can take, and that's saying a lot. I talked to Mike Merles about this new subclass appearing in Xanathar's Guide to Everything.
So the path of the Zealot came up with the idea that what if you had someone who was devoted to a god, like a zealot, someone who's like very fiercely emotionally devoted, but not necessarily, the paladin is more of a, I don't want to say intellectual because paladins aren't an intelligence-based class, but they have a code that they live up to. So what if you had the opposite, right? You could imagine a chaotic god might not necessarily have a paladin because paladins are about, here's my code, right? Here's the principles I live by. And so it's almost thinking like, well, what would a chaotic god's paladins look like? And I think I've kind of always had this idea that the barbarian is the opposite of the paladin. Barbarians be very impulsive, and so the idea that if you had a chaotic neutral god, this is what their warriors might look like. They don't have a code of conduct because it's chaotic neutral. They do whatever they want, and they just crave freedom. And so their fighting style is sort of based on that, and the idea that they throw themselves into the fight and count on their god to protect them. The more ferocious they are, it's heedless, seemingly suicidal tactics that they use. And so it felt like something which mechanically really fit the barbarian's concept of raging and all that idea. But then kind of fit this really nice idea of the person who just relies on their deity to carry them through the fight. They just fight mindlessly and hack away and know that the gods will watch over them. So it's one of those things where the story concept, maybe if you describe that character, you might not start at Barbarian, but it makes the most sense in terms of fitting this idea of what this character does and what type of character they are. And it kind of represents us sort of spreading out the territory the class covers conceptually. You could be a Barbarian dedicated to Tempest in the Forgotten Realms, and this might be the subclass you'd choose. That it would seem to fit in with your character.
I feel like that would be tiresome for the god.
Well, it depends what kind of god you have, right? Some gods would say that's what they want their followers to do, right? Like Tempest would be amused by that, right? That someone's so dedicated to fighting, they just throw themselves into it. Now, someone like Tyr, a more measured god, or if you're thinking like, the way D&D's treated the Greek mythos, someone like Athena probably would not have an affinity for that kind of character, but Ares might, where it's just about violence. Where Athena is more, it's about justice, it's about wisdom, it's about fighting intelligently. That would be a much better fit for a paladin or even a fighter who's just sort of spun a bit that way, like role-playing wise.
You can find the Barbarian Path of the Zealot in Xanathar's Guide to Everything. You can purchase that book on dndbeyond.com by clicking on the link in this video description, and you can also earn pre-order bonuses as well. I'm Todd Kenrick. Thank you for watching.